By the way, something has happened. The world, maybe it's since COVID, has gone dog crazy. People bring, I think they found a loophole with this service dog thing. And once they open that door, everybody's dog is a service dog. And now it's like nobody can do anything about it. You can't go to a fucking restaurant without somebody's fucking dog on your leg begging for food. You can, I mean, you know, or yapping in your ear. And it's like,
isn't a service dog, isn't it like a service dog is considered if they cheer up your mood?
everything is a service. It's just a dog. Yeah. The whole idea is you needed a service dog because you've got psychological problems and you need the service dog to calm you down because you could have an anxiety attack in public. I say if you fucking have anxiety attacks in public, get the fuck out of the public and take your fucking dog with you. I go into a nice bar. I don't want to, and I'm having a nice beer in a bar. I don't want a fucking dog howling at me or yapping at me or fucking giving me the stink eye like he's about to fucking rip my fucking leg off. No, I go into a place like a bar or pub to be civil. I go out to dinner. I want a civilized meal. I don't want fucking yappinoid all over the, you know, screeching in my ears and giving me a headache and then chomping at my and crawling between my legs.
Well, you can make the same point for some thick-necked drunk at the next table. I don't want him fucking giving me a hard time either at the bar.
Oh, and a thick-necked drunk, they'll, you know, if he starts getting, you know, mouthy, they'll throw him out. You know, you go to the waiter, hey, you can't do that with a fucking nasty little dog. And so that dog keeps snarling at me and fucking, you know, trying to snap at me while I got my fork in my hand. Just, can you get him, you know, remove him? You can have a big fucking thick-necked drunk removed. He'll probably be waiting for you outside to knock the shit out of you, but at least you can enjoy the rest of your meal in peace.
People used to love taking me to buffets. They would just stand there and just enjoy the amount of food I would put on my plates. And I emphasize plates, plural. I mean, and just how many times I would go back and forth, back and forth. I had guys behind the counter who were carving the meat, who actually, midway through my experience, would applaud me. They said, we've never seen your kind around here, and we probably will never see your kind again. I miss that guy. I miss that me. Now I'm sitting there with my fucking fruits and vegetables and whole grains, and oh my God, I wouldn't be able to get it down if it wasn't for booze.
What about the anti-boozers?
Fuck them. Okay. You know what my cardiologist said to me after? I said, you know something? I said, I haven't had pizza since there was a coronary issue. I said, and I haven't had pizza or Chinese food since, and I used to love that they had my picture on walls of pizzerias and Chinese restaurants throughout Southern California. I mean, I was revered. I used to love this food. And after my heart attack, I just stopped. And I haven't eaten that stuff for 8 years or anything except, like I said, fruits and vegetables and nuts and all this crap. And my cardiologist, Stanford educated, actually said to me, I didn't keep you alive to be bored to death.
I agree with him. I think you should experiment with a slice of nice pizza. Not a whole pizza pie. Your system wouldn't be able to handle it.
That's right, it wouldn't. Remember that conversation we had where you tried to get me to moderate the amount of liquor I was going to consume at a given point in the day? And I said it can't be done because I've got no turn-off nozzle. Well, it's just as bad with pizza. If a pizza pie comes to my house, the idea that I'm going to have 1 or 2 slices and put it in the Frigidator, and then I'm going to save the rest or freeze it and have the rest of the day after.
Do you remember my response? I said, of course, you can't put this aside. The pizza arrives. You cut 2 slices off. And throw the rest immediately in the garbage. I don't think, and mix it with the nasty shit. and you have the slice and you see if you can handle it.
Okay, I will tell you again that would be my plan when I hit enter for Grubhub or whoever brought me the pizza. Then as they're driving in that 35 or 40 minutes, I would slowly talk myself out of it to the point where by the time the doorbell rang, I will have even forgotten that strategy. I'll tell you what's frustrating and ironic. When I was younger and smoked pot constantly, one of my fantasies as I was rushing to a bad part of town to meet with somebody to buy a couple of lids was I said, wouldn't it be great if you could just go into the 7-Eleven and just buy pot the way you could buy a 6-pack of beer? Well, now I literally have a pot dispensary down the street that looks like a 7-Eleven, acts like a 7-Eleven. You can just walk in, go, give me that, give me that, give me that, walk out and have a cop hold the door for you on your way out. Hello, citizen, I see you're about to get high. Yes, sir, officer. Well, enjoy the evening. Thank you, sir. And you're home in a flash, lighting up and fulfilling a fantasy, which now circumstance has not allowed me to act on.
Well,
Really pisses me off.
I don't know what to say.
There's a great line in a movie that I'm okay with. Little Miss Sunshine. Is that the? I only watched it because of Alan Arkin, who's always been one of
Yeah,
my
he
favorites.
was the whole movie. Yeah.
He was the whole movie. And he says to the little girl, his granddaughter, he says, when you're young, you're crazy to do drugs, which I don't necessarily agree with. But he said, when you're young, you're crazy to do drugs. When you're old, you're crazy not to.
That was a good line.
That was a great fucking line. And it really resonates. And I'm telling you, if I finally say, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to start doing drugs again because it's crazy not to, it's Alan Arkin's fault. The blame rests with Ustarian.
Yeah.
Well, it's right down the street, next to the place where I get the carrot cake.
I think you should.
They plan that right.
I'm all for these things.
They deliver. They deliver. The carrot cake guy doesn't deliver on his own.
Aren't you just, I mean, when did you quit pot? 30, 35 years ago?
I quit pot on August 10th, 1979.
All right, 45 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, aren't you just curious?
42 years ago. Of course I'm curious, right? That's what I'm talking about. I'm very curious. I know from younger people that I know that pot ain't the pot I remember as being. That's far more powerful now.
Well, they make all kinds now.
I know.
Most people like the super powerful, crazy shit, but people like us don't like it. So they make, they make grandpa weed.
I wasn't aware there is such a thing called grandpa weed.
Well, I don't think there is, but I don't think they call it that.
What do you get me excited for?
I don't think they call it grandpa weed, but I think they make weed, some of the strains that were from when we were kids.
Well, when I was a kid,
like Panama Red, I think you can get Panama Red now, and I loved Panama Red.
I loved Panama Red. I loved Panama. I loved Jamaican. I loved Colombian, Mexican. I could do it out. I loved Thai stick.
That was all too strong for me. I like Panama Red. Got me to where I needed to be. I like the taste of it. I like the buzz. Yeah. Well, you could probably go get some.
Of course I could go. It's right down the street. Well, like I said, I could pick up the computer and punch in a couple of buttons, and the guy knocking on my door, just like the liquor guy. No difference. Not in Nevada.
Well, if you get bored enough, maybe you'll give it a try.
No, I don't think I get any more bored than I've been.
Well, if you feel the spirit of adventure and, a certain amount of defiance to the status quo, maybe that will do it.
Well, the paradox of pot, for those who are watching their weight, is that as opposed to liquor, pot itself has no calories, of course, if you smoke it. On the other hand, if you smoke pot and you get what they used to call the munchies, one
All
the
bets
same
are off.
calories.
The
bets
pizzas and
are
the
off.
brownies and the carrot cake are all flying through the door.
And not only do I not throw out the rest of the pizza, I eat that, and then while I'm eating it, I'm ordering Chinese food.
Yep. Yeah, well,
Those were great days. Holy shit. There was nothing quite like getting high and knowing a deep dish was on the way. Oh, that was.
what would you describe this as the best feel? What are like the 5 best feelings in the world? Top 3. The top 3. 5 is too long. What are your top 3 best feelings in the world? Exclude sex, because like the orgasm thing.
I was going to say, orgasm is obviously intended. I mean, that's but the best aside from orgasm,
Yeah.
the 3 best feelings in the world. For me, the best feeling in the world is the moment I wake up and realize I have nothing to do that day. It's like straight out of the Paul Simon song. I got nothing to do, no promises to keep. I got no responsibilities. Just I can do whatever the fuck I want. I got no deadlines. I'm just
Feeling groovy.
I'm just feeling groovy. Calling my pal Primo, and that's the big responsibility of my day. That and finding a way to feed myself in a way that I'm willing
So
to feed myself.
so every day you wake up with the best feeling in the world.
It doesn't last.
I'm not saying it does, but still, that's a pretty Mr. Rogers kind of existence. One wouldn't take you for, even though you do come off avuncular, I wouldn't go like, here comes Mr. Rogers, here comes the whole shebang. And yet you wake up every day with the best feeling in the world, knowing you have no responsibilities.
People won't attribute that to me because it doesn't fit their narrative of who I am. I've got because I'm so cynical, skeptical, grumpy, whatever the hell you want to call it for the rest of the day. Optimism they feel is completely out of my wheelhouse, and it's a lie. I wake up and I feel great. It's got to be close to a minute.
Okay.
At least a minute.
If the high is that strong, it lingers. The little, not as, kind of.
I wouldn't call it a high. These days there are no highs. I would call it the absence of depression.
But I said, what do you say are the 3 greatest feelings besides the sex?
The greatest feeling is the absence of depression, and then the reason for the absence of depression is the lack of responsibility.
Okay, but yet when you wake up in the morning, you're aware that you have no responsibility, but yet even throughout the day, you can, it's the same thing.
No.
You have no responsibility. It's not like 5 minutes later, it's just like, shit, I woke up, I thought I had no responsibility, but now I realize I have you got no fucking responsibility. You should feel that good all through the day.
I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
You are theorizing, and in so doing, you are dealing in absolutes. When I wake up, the first thought in my head is, as I said, this is great. I've got nothing that's going to irritate me today. I got no responsibilities. But as the day creeps in and moves along, I realize that the lack of responsibility is married to the absence of hope. The realization that it's never going to get any better than it is right now, because it's very rare to have something to look forward to, fight for, work towards without responsibility. So when you lose the responsibility, you also lose the hope. And you realize, this is it. I'm just waiting to die now.
With no responsibilities.
With no responsibilities.
So it's the ambition. Ambition shits on everything.
It does, but it's also a good thing. It moves the engine forward. It keeps your life going. And when you actually achieve something, that triumph is fun.
It's
The
not, it's
absence of
very
depression is not a
short-lived.
triumph.
You got to feed
Everything
that
is short-lived.
beast, but you got to feed that ambition beast constantly.
Well, obviously, yes. But at least you always know in the back of your head that it's there. Even if you say, you know what, this probably won't happen till February, at least you got something going on in the back of your head. Say, well, you know, in February, this may get exciting. But this retirement shit and just waking up and saying I have nothing to do, you know, and it doesn't help the fact that we've all been, you know, we've all had cabin fever for the last year and a half. So that just makes it that much worse. I used to be able to enjoy myself going to a casino or a sport book. Now I got to do that fucking thing online. And it's not nearly as much fun betting when you're doing it on your computer or your phone as opposed to going into a sport book. It's like they found out. They said, you know what? He waited his whole life to retire in Las Vegas. Let's come up with a pandemic. We'll fuck this guy up. So I
I'm
take
sure
full
that's what happened.
it is. I take full responsibility, and I apologize to the world because it's all on me. One of the big disappointments of my life, and I'm embarrassed to talk about, the Springsteen album after Born to Run. What the hell was that one?
I was not a big Springsteen guy, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, whatever it was, the follow-up to Born to Run, that album, I was so looking forward to it. When I heard it, maybe I just had expectations that were just unreasonable. But
I never even knew that you liked Bruce Springsteen.
You know what?
I've known you for 9,000 years.
Well, because you know that I don't particularly care for rock and roll. I have very few bands or performers that I actually listen to. I prefer different types of music. But there was something magical about I hated college, as you know. And when Springsteen sang, "It's a town full of losers, I'm pulling out of here to win," he owned me. That album became one of my when I was in college, that album, Born to Run, and the Maria Muldaur album. Those were the two big albums when I was in college, and I loved them both. I would late at night, I would turn out the lights, get high, and just listen to those albums over and over again.
I like Midnight at the Oasis.
Great album.
That was.
And by
I
the
never
way,
knew the album. I just like that song. I thought it was, you know, "Send Your Camel to Bed" or something. You know.
Well, let me tell you, that was one great album. And again, the follow-up album was a complete disaster.
Well, she never hit that high again.
Well, no, so my relationship with Springsteen has been very shaky over the years. In fact, he's kind of won me back. That the Wrecking Ball album was pretty damn good. But no, for me, it was the Ramones. That was it. The Ramones and, you know, Joan Jett for 10 minutes, Maria Muldaur for 10 minutes.
Joan Jett?
Joan Jett,
Yeah.
I liked her for, yeah. And I thought she was sexy as hell. And the last band I was interested in was years ago when we worked together back in '92 or something, Concrete Blonde. I liked that album. And then that was it. I was like out of rock. Then I heard this band called Arcade Fire. Have you heard of this band?
Yeah.
Arcade.
But I don't remember. I don't remember what they sound like.
Well, I got to tell you, I've heard their first three albums, and they really sound great. I just think they're interesting as hell. And then I listened to their fourth album, and I said, "Who killed these guys? Who, you know, maybe every rock band, maybe self-importantly decides, okay, we need our Sgt. Pepper, so we're going to completely change directions and do something entirely new." And the people who fell in love with what they did the first couple out, they go, "Oh, geez." Now the Beatles, because they were brilliant, got away with it. And that's an understatement. But this Arcade Fire thing was, I thought, very weak. But I loved their first three albums. Very emotional music.
I did not know that.
Well, I'm a walking paradox.
You're a man of mystery.